A cold wind moved through the city that night. It was the kind of night people hurried through, heads down, hands in pockets, praying the train arrived fast. The station lights flickered weakly, and the smell of metal and rain filled the air. Everyone was busy, everyone was tired, and everyone just wanted to go home. But Maria, she stopped walking. She heard something. A sound that didn't belong to the station's usual noise. A small broken cry. At first, she thought it was the wind, or maybe a cat stuck somewhere. But the cry came again, shaking, scared, lost. Maria's heart tightened. She had heard that kind of cry before. 11 years ago, on the night she lost her family home in a fire, she turned slowly, scanning the benches, and then she saw her. A little girl, no more than 7 or 8, sitting alone on a cold metal bench. Her thin legs were pulled up close to her chest, her arms wrapped around them. Her clothes were dusty, her hair tangled, and her shoes looked too big for her feet. She was shaking, not from the cold alone, but from pure fear. Maria stepped closer. "Hey, sweetheart, are you okay?" The girl's head snapped up, eyes wide, breath shaking. She didn't answer. She only stared at Maria, as if she was trying to decide whether to run or cry harder. Maria moved slowly, gently, the way she used to help frightened children at the community shelter. "It's all right. I just want to help." The girl flinched, pressing back against the bench. Don't take me away," she whispered. "I'm not going back. I'm not going back there." Maria froze. Those words, they didn't come from a normal lost child. "Back where?" she asked softly. The girl didn't speak. Instead, she looked straight into Maria's eyes, her lips trembling. And then she said a line that made Maria feel like the entire station shifted. "You have no home, and I have no mother." The words hit too close, too deep, too personal. How did she know that? Maria hadn't told anyone about her struggles, about living alone after the fire, about losing her family piece by piece. She didn't even talk about it at the shelter. Yet this little girl spoke it like a truth carved in stone. For a moment, Maria could only stare at her. "What's your name?" she finally asked. The girl hesitated. "Lena." "Okay, Lena," Maria said softly. "I'm not here to take you anywhere. But you can't stay alone in this cold. Come with me. We'll figure things out." Before Lena could answer, Maria felt something change. A shift in the air. A slow, heavy presence entering the station. She turned her head. 3 men in long dark coats walked toward the benches. Their eyes were cold, scanning every corner. They moved with purpose, too quiet, too focused. Not normal commuters. Not lost parents. Something else. Lena's tiny hand grabbed Maria's coat tightly. "They found me," she whispered. "Please, don't let them take me." Maria didn't know who those men were. She didn't know what Lena was running from. But she knew one thing without doubt. If she walked away now, she would never forgive herself. Maria stood up, her voice calm but firm. "Come with me, stay close." Lena pressed against her side. Maria walked fast, blending into the crowd. The men kept looking, searching, moving closer. As they reached the exit, one of the men turned his head sharply, his eyes locking onto Maria for half a second. Her heart dropped. The danger was real. The night was only beginning. And the little girl she had picked up was no ordinary stranger. It was the start of something much bigger. Something dark. Something coming straight toward them both. Maria didn't stop walking until her legs began to shake. She pulled Lena into a narrow corner outside the station, hidden behind an old poster board. The men in dark coats moved past the glass doors, scanning every face. Maria held her breath. Lena clung to her side like a frightened kitten. Only when the men disappeared into the far hallway did Maria whisper, "Okay. We need to go somewhere safe." She guided Lena through quiet streets until they reached a small cafe still open late at night. The warm air inside hit them like a soft blanket. The smell of sugar, bread, and hot tea filled the room. A tired cashier looked up but said nothing. He didn't care who they were as long as they paid. Maria sat Lena at a corner table, far from the windows. Lena stared at the steaming cup Maria placed in front of her. Her tiny hands shook when she held it, almost like she didn't remember what warmth felt like. Maria spoke gently. "Lena, I need to know. Who were those men?" Lena didn't answer. She kept staring at the tea, her lips tight, her eyes hollow. Maria tried again. "I'm not trying to hurt you. I just need to understand what's happening." Lena finally lifted her eyes slowly, like her neck was heavy. "They are not good men," she whispered. They take people." Maria felt a chill run down her spine. "Take people?" Lena nodded. "Women, mostly women, and children who know too much." Maria leaned closer. "Know too much about what?" Lena swallowed hard. Her next words came out cracked and thin. "About the women who fight back." Fight back? That didn't sound like ordinary danger. It sounded like something organized. Something deep. Maria's heartbeat grew faster. She pushed her cup aside. "Lena, where is your mother?" Lena blinked too fast. Her lips trembled. "She didn't leave me," she whispered. "They took her." It felt like the whole cafe fell silent. No sound. No movement. Just Lena's small voice echoing in Maria's chest. "They came to our home," Lena continued. "My mother told me to hide under the bed. I saw their shoes, black, heavy. They pulled her out. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't wipe them. She screamed my name. And then they hit her. I couldn't move. I wanted to, but I was too scared." Maria reached out, placing a gentle hand over Lena's. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, but Lena shook her head. "I ran when they went outside. I didn't know where to go. I just kept running until I reached the station." Maria felt pain pulse through her heart. She knew fear. She knew loss, but what Lena faced. No child should. Then Lena said something unexpected. "You remind me of her." Maria froze. "Your mother?" Lena nodded. "The way you talk. The way you protect. She was like that too." Maria didn't know whether to feel honored or afraid. She sighed and leaned back, thinking. Before she could speak again, the cafe door opened. A cold gust entered. Maria turned fast. Her heart dropped. One of the men from the station stepped inside. He didn't look around wildly. He didn't shout. He didn't rush. He walked slowly, confidently, as if he already knew someone inside was hiding. Maria grabbed Lena's hand under the table. "Stay quiet," she whispered. The man spoke to the cashier. His voice was calm, too calm. "Have you seen a woman with a little girl? They ran in this direction." Maria's pulse hammered. Lena's fingers squeezed her wrist hard, almost painful. The cashier shook his head, distracted, uninterested. "No idea, sir." But the man didn't believe him. Maria could tell from his eyes. He turned his head, scanning the tables. One by one. Coming closer, step by step. Row by row. Maria whispered, barely a breath. "Lena, when I say run, you run. Don't look back." Lena nodded, tears already forming. The man reached the table next to them. Maria tightened her grip. "Almost. Time," she whispered. But then, "Wait." The man said. He stopped, right in front of their table. His shadow fell across their faces. And Maria realized they had only seconds left. The man's shadow covered their table like a dark cloud. Maria didn't breathe. Lena pressed so close to her that Maria could feel the rapid shaking in her tiny body. The man studied their faces with cold, slow eyes that looked like they were trained to find fear. Maria lowered her head just enough to hide her face under her hood. She prayed the dim cafe lights were on her side tonight. The man leaned slightly closer. For one terrifying second, Maria thought it was over. Then a loud crash came from the kitchen. A metal tray hit the floor, echoing through the cafe. Everyone turned their heads, even the dark-coated man. Maria didn't waste the moment. She squeezed Lena's hand. "Now," she whispered. They slid under the table, crawled toward the back door, and slipped into the alley behind the cafe before the man even looked back. Maria didn't stop until she reached a narrow, dark passage between two buildings. Her lungs burned. Lena collapsed against her, breathing hard. "Are we safe?" Lena whispered. Maria didn't want to lie, but she also didn't want to scare her more. "For now," she said softly, "but we need to move fast." She took Lena to her small apartment, a place she rarely brought anyone. Inside, the walls were covered with old sketches, a broken lamp, and a shelf with only a few books left from her childhood. It wasn't much of a home, but it was warmer than the streets. Lena walked slowly, her eyes scanning everything like she was looking for danger hiding inside the furniture. Maria poured her warm water and placed a blanket around her shoulders. "Lena, I need to understand more," Maria said quietly. "If we want to stay safe, you need to tell me everything you remember." Lena nodded but stayed silent. She looked tired, too tired for a child her age. Then her gaze stopped on something on the shelf. A photo frame. Maria didn't notice at first, until Lena walked toward it with slow steps. As if drawn by something invisible. She picked up the frame. Inside was a picture. Maria and her younger sister, smiling on a sunny day before everything changed. Lena's hand trembled. Her eyes softened with recognition, real recognition. Maria stiffened. "You know her?" Lena nodded slowly. Tears filled her eyes. "She saved us." Maria felt her knees weaken. "Saved? Who?" "The women," Lena whispered. "The mothers, the ones the men wanted to take away." Maria's breath caught. Her sister? Saving people? Hiding from those men? She didn't know whether to feel proud or terrified. "Lena." Maria sat next to her. "Where did you see my sister?" Lena took a shaky breath. "In a big dark building. A place with locked doors. She tried to help my mother escape." Maria's chest tightened painfully. Her sister had been missing for 2 years. Everyone said she was gone forever. But here was a child saying she was alive, fighting, protecting others. But then Lena's voice broke. "They caught her, Maria." Maria froze completely. Lena continued, tears rolling down her cheeks. "They hurt her. And they said she knew too much. They kept her in a room. She tried to tell us to run. She told my mother that someone would come. Someone strong." Maria looked at the little girl, her heart pounding. "Someone strong?" She whispered. "Who?" Lena looked up straight into Maria's eyes. "You." The room felt suddenly smaller, darker, heavier. Maria didn't know how to feel. She was no hero. She worked long shifts, fought her own battles with loneliness, and tried to survive each day. She was not someone powerful, but Lena spoke, as if she was the only person left in the world who could help. Suddenly a loud thud hit the apartment door. Maria jumped. Lena grabbed her hand. Another thud. Then a low voice. "We know she's in there." Maria's heart stopped. The men had found them, again, but this time they weren't knocking. They were coming in. Maria froze at the sound of the heavy thud against her apartment door. The walls seemed to vibrate with each slow, frightening knock. Lena gripped Maria's arm so tight it almost hurt. Her eyes were wide, filled with the same fear Maria had seen at the station. Only worse. The hallway outside was silent, too silent. No neighbors arguing, no kids running, no TV noise leaking under doors. Just a cold, heavy pause between the knocks. Like the building itself was holding its breath. Thud. A second knock. Harder. Maria stepped back, pulling Lena with her. She whispered, "Stay behind me." Lena whispered back, trembling, "They found us." Maria's mind raced. Her apartment was small, only one way out the front door. The windows led to a narrow alley, too high for Lena to climb safely. And the fire escape was rusty and loud. If she tried to use it, they would hear another knock. But this time, something scratched against the door slow and dragging. Maria's heart hammered. She peeked through the peepoe dot at first. She saw nothing. The hallway lights flickered, making shadows jump and stretch along the walls. Then a hand. A glove. Tracing a line down her door like someone writing with a knife tip. Maria jerked back. Lena whispered, "What do they want?" Maria didn't know. She didn't want to know. But one truth burned in her chest. They weren't going to stop. She took Lena's hand. "Come on, we're not waiting here." Maria moved toward the window and pushed it open gently. The cold air hit her face. The alley below was dark but empty. She tested the old fire escape. It groaned but held. "Lena, listen to me. You go first. I'll follow." Lena shook her head. "No, if they catch you, they won't," Maria said firmly. "Go." Lena climbed out, her small hands gripping the cold metal. Maria followed, praying the old ladder wouldn't snap under her weight. Suddenly, a loud, violent crack erupted behind them. The apartment door. Maria didn't look back. She grabbed Lena and whispered, "Climb down fast." As they reached the alley floor, Maria heard heavy footsteps enter her apartment. Things breaking. Furniture crashing. A man's voice muttering, "She was here. Check everything." Maria pulled Lena behind a dumpster, pushing her into the shadows. They crouched low, trying to breathe quietly. Up above, the men walked around her apartment. Heavy boots stomped. Drawers ripped open. A glass smashed. Then a slow scratching sound again. Maria closed her eyes, terrified. She knew what it meant. They were leaving another message. A few seconds later, the men walked to the fire escape. Their footsteps made the metal ring. Maria covered Lena's mouth gently to keep her from gasping. But the men didn't climb down. They were just inspecting. Looking for clues. Then one of them said, "She didn't get far. The girl is with her. They'll run again. And we'll follow." The other man replied, cold and certain, "She has something we need. And she doesn't know it yet." Maria held Lena tightly, her mind spinning. What did she have? Why were they after her? What did they want from a child? Finally, after long minutes, the men left. The alley fell silent again. Maria waited 5 more minutes before moving. "Come," she whispered. "We can't stay here." They left the alley quietly and walked through side streets until Maria found an old bus yard abandoned, silent, hidden behind tall fences. One broken bus door hung open. Inside, it smelled of dust and rust. But it was shelter. Maria sat Lena on an old seat. The girl leaned against her, exhausted. "Maria," Lena whispered. "Why won't they stop?" Maria brushed her hair gently. "Because they want something. Something connected to your mother. And maybe my sister." Lena looked up. "What did they write on your door?" Maria swallowed hard. "Stay here. I need to check." She went back quietly, her legs shaking. When she reached her apartment door, the hallway was empty. Her door was cracked open and scratched into the wood. Deep and angry, "She is ours. Give her back." Maria backed away slowly. She wasn't just protecting a lost child. She was standing between Lena and something dark enough to carve threats into a woman's home. The abandoned bus creaked softly as the cold night settled over the yard. Every sound felt louder here, every gust of wind, every shifting metal piece, every breath Maria and Lena took. Maria locked the bus door from inside, then moved quietly through the aisles, checking each broken seat and cracked window. Only when she was sure they were alone did she finally sit. Lena leaned against her side, small and tired, her body trembling from fear and cold. Maria wrapped her arm around her. "You did good," she whispered. "You're safe for now." But Lena didn't look convinced. "Maria, they will come again." Maria didn't lie. "I know." Outside, the yard was silent, but silence didn't feel comforting. It felt like a trap waiting to close. Maria stared out the cloudy bus window, her mind racing. Why were they so desperate to take her? What did her mother know? And why did those men talk like Maria had something they needed? Maria looked at Lena closely. The girl's eyes were red, but sharp. Too sharp for a child. After a long silence, Maria asked softly, "Lena, how much do you really know?" Lena didn't answer at first. She hugged her knees and stared at the floor. "They didn't just take my mother," Lena whispered finally. "They took other women too." Maria's heart tightened. "Women like your mother?" "Yes. And women who helped them escape." A cold realization struck Maria. "Like my sister?" Lena nodded slowly. "She tried to help them," Lena said. "Your sister was brave. She helped mothers hide. She gave them food, told them when the bad men were coming. But they found out. And they punished her." Maria felt the breath leave her body. She swallowed hard, trying to stay strong for Lena's sake. "Where is my sister now?" Maria asked, her voice shaking. Lena looked up, her eyes soft with sadness. "She was still alive when I saw her last. But she was locked in a room. A big room. With metal walls. She told us to run. She said someone would come looking for us." Maria blinked, tears burning her eyes. "Someone? Who?" "She didn't say a name," Lena whispered. "But when she saw me at the station today, she told me to find the woman with the warm voice." Maria froze. "What?" Lena nodded. "She said, 'Find the woman with the warm voice. She will protect you. She will find me.'" Maria felt her heart twist. Her sister had sent this child to her. Her sister was still alive. Her sister needed her. A sudden noise made both of them jump. Not footsteps. Not voices. A soft beep. Maria stood quickly and followed the sound. It came from under one of the bus seats. She reached down and pulled out a small device wrapped in cloth. A tracker. Red light blinking. Maria's eyes widened. "Lena, where did this come from?" Lena shook her head. I don't know. I didn't bring anything." Maria examined the device. It wasn't something a child could have hidden. Someone must have slipped it into her clothes while they were running or while she was hiding before. "They've been tracking us," Maria whispered. "The whole time." Lena's face turned white. "No. No, Maria, I didn't know. It's not your fault," Maria said quickly. "Come on. We have to move." Maria crushed the tracker under her shoe until the blinking light died. Then she cracked the small chip inside, making sure it could never send a signal again. But it was too late. Far in the distance, a car engine echoed. Not friendly. Slow, searching. Maria grabbed Lena's hand. "We're leaving, now." They moved through the yard, climbing under fences, sneaking behind old buses until they reached the street. The city felt colder than before, like danger was waiting around every corner. Lena whispered, "Where are we going?" Maria looked at the moonlit sky, her jaw tight. "To the only place they won't look for us," she said. "A shelter for women who run. A secret place your mother told me about. Years ago." Lena blinked. "My mother knew you?" Maria shook her head. "Not me. But she knew my sister." Lena squeezed Maria's hand. "Then let's find her," she whispered. And together, two souls running from the same darkness, they disappeared into the night. The night felt heavier as Maria and Lena moved through the quiet streets, heading toward the secret shelter Maria's sister once mentioned, a place that didn't appear on maps. A place whispered about only in the darkest corners of the city. Every shadow felt alive. Every sound made Lena jump. Maria kept her close, one arm always around her. But before they reached the hidden shelter, Maria needed something else first. Answers. There was one place she hoped never to visit again, a massive, abandoned warehouse near the docks. Years ago, it was rumored to be a holding site, a place where the men in dark coats stored stolen goods. And sometimes, stolen people. Maria never believed the rumors. Not until tonight, when she pushed the rusty door open. It groaned loudly, echoing across the hollow space. Dust floated in the cold air like tiny ghosts. The warehouse was huge rows of metal crates, long corridors, and an eerie silence that felt wrong. Lena held her hand tightly. Maria, is this where my mother? Maria squeezed her hand gently. We will find out. Stay close. They moved slowly, their footsteps soft on the concrete floor. The deeper they walked, the colder it felt, as if the walls held memories of fear. Then Lena stopped. She pointed at a metal crate. Look, Maria stepped closer. On the side of the crate, someone had scratched a word small, nearly invisible, but powerful enough to make Maria's blood turn cold. Maria choked on a breath. Your name. It's your name. Lena's voice trembled. My mother. She used to write my name like that. When she taught me letters. Maria touched the scratched name gently. Whoever carved it was desperate, rushed, scared. Her mother had been here, recently. They kept moving, deeper into the warehouse. Suddenly, a faint sound reached them like metal tapping, or a weak hand hitting a wall. Lena whispered, someone's here. Maria followed the sound to a long hallway filled with old shipping containers. Many were locked shut. At the very end, a single door stood slightly open, swinging gently with each whisper of wind. Maria pushed it harder. The room behind it was small, dimly lit by a flickering bulb. Papers were scattered across the floor. Some were torn, some burned, some covered in dust. Lena stepped forward slowly, her eyes scanning the mess. Then she gasped. Maria! Look, on the cracked wall, written in something dark. Something that once looked like blood. Were 3 words, find my SS here. Maria's heart stopped. She stumbled closer, her fingertips shaking as she traced the letters. The writing wasn't neat, it was rushed, desperate, full of fear. Her voice barely came out. This is her handwriting. Lena stared at her. Your sister was here. She wrote that. Maria felt her knees weaken. Her sister wasn't giving up. She was fighting. Leaving messages. Trying to tell her where to go. On a broken metal table nearby, Maria found a torn cloth familiar, patterned with small blue flowers. My sister's scarf. She whispered. Lena reached for it, her voice soft. She told us someone would come. Someone who wouldn't leave us behind. Maria closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. She wasn't just searching for answers anymore. She was searching for family. Before she could think more, a loud crash erupted at the warehouse entrance. Heavy footsteps, fast and many, echoed through the wide halls. Lena flinched. They're here. Maria grabbed her hand. Run! They raced down the hallway. Shadows moved behind them, dark, quick, dangerous. Voices shouted, block the side doors. Don't let them escape this time. The woman and the child, bring them alive. Maria's lungs burned, but she didn't stop. She pulled Lena through a side exit, down a metal staircase, and into the foggy dockyard. But as soon as they reached the bottom, a figure stepped out from behind a crate, tall, silent, wearing a dark coat. Maria froze. Lena squeezed her hand. Maria, what do we do? The man stepped closer, slowly lifting his hand, but instead of grabbing them, he dropped a small object at Maria's feet. A silver key. A single word was carved onto the metal. Maria stared at it in shock. The man whispered, urgency in his voice. Run, before they see I helped you. Then he vanished into the fog. Maria picked up the key. Shaking Dot, it wasn't just a key, Dot, it was the key. To a room. A prison. A place where her sister was being held. The final clue, and the most dangerous one yet. Fog rolled over the dockyard, like a thin white blanket, hiding everything except fear. Maria clutched the silver key in her shaking hand. The metal felt cold, too cold, like it carried the weight of every woman who had been taken. Lena stood close beside her, breathing fast, eyes darting around the shadows. Maria, will this key help us find her? She whispered. Maria nodded slowly. Yes, and it means someone inside their group wants us to win. She didn't know who the man in the coat was. She didn't know why he helped. But she didn't have time to question it. Not now. The key had a purpose, and it was guiding her straight into danger. They followed the fog-covered path until they reached a hidden staircase leading under the dock. Rusty metal. Damp smell. Cold air. This is it, Maria whispered. Lena squeezed her hand. I'm not scared, Maria smiled weakly. I am. But we go anyway. She led Lena down the stairs. At the bottom was a single metal door, thick, dented, and covered with chains. A small keyhole waited in the center. The key fit perfectly. As Maria turned it, the chains loosened. The door opened with a groan that echoed through the underground hallway. Inside was darkness, heavy, silent. Maria stepped in first. Hello? She whispered. Nothing. Then soft breathing. Maria's heartbeat raced. She followed the sound through a narrow corridor. The walls were covered in scrape marks, fingernails, metal tools, desperation. Finally, she reached another door. Behind it, she heard a faint cough. Maria's fingers shook as she pushed it open. Inside the small room, sitting weakly on the floor, her wrists bruised, her hair messy but her spirit still alive, was her sister, Grace. Maria whispered. Grace lifted her head slowly. Her eyes widened. Maria? Maria dropped to her knees and pulled Grace into her arms. Years of fear, guilt, loss, and hope poured out in tears. Maria, Grace whispered, voice cracked. I knew you'd come. Lena stepped in quietly, her own eyes filling with tears. Grace, you're alive. Grace smiled weakly at her. You kept your promise. You found her. Maria pulled back, wiping her face. Grace, we have to leave. Right now. They're coming. But Grace shook her head. No, Maria, you don't understand. They didn't just take me. They took others. Women, children. They moved them. Hide them, use them. We can't leave them. Maria froze. How many? Grace looked down. Too many. Before Maria could respond, loud footsteps thundered through the hallway. Angry voices. Dozens of them. They found the door, Lena whispered, shaking. Maria stood up fast. Grace, can you walk? Yes, Grace said, forcing herself up. I just need help. Maria wrapped one arm around her while taking Lena's hand with the other. Stay behind me. Do exactly what I say. The men reached the first room. Their voices echoed down the hallway. Search every corner. They're here. Don't let them reach the stairs. Maria looked around desperately. Only one exit. Only one chance. We run, she whispered. We don't stop. Grace nodded. Maria led them out of the room and into the corridor. Behind them, loud footsteps grew closer. Shouts filled the air. They reached the staircase, but a man appeared at the top, blocking the way. Maria froze, but the man didn't yell. He didn't attack. It was the same man who had given them the key. Go, he whispered urgently, stepping aside. They don't know I helped you. They won't believe it. Just run. Maria didn't question it. She pulled Grace and Lena up the stairs, hearts pounding, legs burning. As they burst into the open dockyard, fog wrapped around them like a shield. Behind them, Chaos exploded, shouts, doors slamming, footsteps scattering, but Maria kept running. Lena stumbled, but Maria lifted her. Grace cried, but Maria held on. They reached the main road. A passing truck slowed as the driver saw them waving desperately. A kind-faced older man opened the door. "Get in," he shouted. They climbed into the back. The truck sped away, leaving the danger behind. Grace leaned against Maria, breathing hard. "Thank you," she whispered. "You saved me." Maria held her close. "We saved each other." Lena wiped her tears and whispered, "Do we have a home now?" Maria looked at both of them, broken but alive, scared but together. "Yes," she said softly. "We do now." They didn't know what tomorrow held. They didn't know what fights still waited, but tonight, they were free, together, and alive. And that was the beginning of a new promise. No woman, no child would be left behind again.